Hi guys, my name is Chad Trofgruben, and you are watching Chad Chat. Before I get started with today's episode, which is going to go back to the more standard structure of episodes that I was doing a few weeks ago, I want to focus in on a couple of updates. First, we have Cartoonists in Cahoots. A few months ago, I launched this website, and the goal was to create a website that would bring cartoonists and creative people together to collaborate, to share their works, to share ideas, to share resources, and to post tutorials to create a pretty comprehensive animated community. Well, I'm happy to report that after a few months, we do have a few members registered now on the website, and we have people who are actively posting. We've had many posts, we have had many works shared, many ideas explored. We have many threads where people ask questions on software like Flash and Anime Studio and got answers for those. So we are creating a database of sorts of questions and answers for these softwares. And we also have right now a big thread going for a collaboration project. A couple of members have wanted to start a big community-driven project to do a big animated cartoon. And so that is in the early stages, but of course, if you're interested in that, I definitely recommend that you go to Cartoonists in Cahoots. And of course, there's other things there like sharing your works, sharing ideas, getting ideas, and collaborating on a smaller scale if you wish. So if that interests you at all, please go to cartoonistincahoots.com and check it out. I think you will like what you see. Now, focusing on the other update, I was recently asked by Smith Micro to teach another webinar. I did one back in January, and now I'm being called upon to do another one. And so it will be on Anime Studio, and it will happen sometime in June. Unfortunately, I don't know many more details right now, and I will be giving you guys those details through the Chad Chats and through my website as they become available to me. But if you are interested in that live aspect of teaching, be sure to keep an eye out because it's coming up. So anyway, now focusing on the meat of the episode, we're going to talk about frame-by-frame animation and bone or armature animation. Which one is best? Which one looks better? Which one is considered lazy by some people out there, not necessarily me, actually not me at all. So we're going to explore this in today's Chad Chat. Frame-by-frame animation or bone animation? Which is best? Well, first, I think it's best to define what both of these techniques are for our viewers out there who are unfamiliar with the terms. Frame-by-frame animation is a more traditional style animation. You go frame by frame on your timeline in your animation software, and you move your character, your object, your scenery, your movie, little by little, advancing each frame. So let's say you have a walking animation. What you would do is you would draw out the character, and you would move the arms and the legs or whatever parts of the body each frame as you advance until finally you have achieved the animation that you want with that frame-by-frame movement. Bone animation style is more recent, I would say. It was probably more popularized by Anime Studio from a consumer standpoint in 2D animation. And that is the process where you draw out a character or a object and you rig it up with bones. And you basically turn it into a puppet, and you can control it however you wish. And in a way, it is faster than that of frame-by-frame animation. So the argument comes down to that frame-by-frame animation looks better than bone animation. And in many ways, this argument, I would say, is validated because you have the ability to do a lot more with the frame-by-frame animation. It takes a lot more time, but you can do a lot more. And it has a certain film quality to it. It's kind of looking at 24 frames per second on a film versus 30 frames per second on a TV show. Bone animation looks a lot more smooth. And so with that, you either like it or you dislike it. That's very smooth quality versus the more choppy quality that you get with frame-by-frame animation. The thing is, though, I get a lot of comments on YouTube whenever I teach a lesson or whatever that the bone animation technique is lazy, that it shouldn't be used, that I'm not a true animator by using it, and that I should be ashamed of myself, and all those sort of ego-stroking comments that all those types of people make. So the thing about that is, I don't think there is a right or wrong way to animate. I think it's absurd to even put that argument into play. There are many frame-by-frame animators out there who do amazing work. Harry Partridge, for instance, I'm sure you've seen some of his cartoons on YouTube. They look great. He has a really unique style. I love it, and it looks good. And I believe he does frame-by-frame in Flash, if I read somewhere correctly once. So, great. He does great work. On the other hand, I've seen some really terrible frame-by-frame animation work. Just on the same side, I've seen great bone animation work and terrible bone animation work. Again, I don't think there is a right or wrong way. It all comes down to how you utilize the technique. And as some people don't really realize, you can actually combine the techniques into your cartoons. We actually have a community member on Cartoonists in Cahoots who has made a few cartoons now, and they all look terrific. One of them I would recommend you check out is a parody on Dora the Explorer. It's pretty funny. But I'm taken by how good his cartoons look. They're very polished. They just look great. And he shared some of his techniques on our message board once. He does do frame-by-frame animation, but he also uses armature animation as well. He combines that with Flash and After Effects. He'll take the cartoons he draws in Flash, puts them into After Effects, and will put a bone structure on them and then animate them out. He does that with parts of his work. And if you look at it, it looks terrific, in my opinion. And so, again, I think it's just absurd for people to say, oh, bone animation is terrible, it's lazy, it sucks, whatever. Because, yes, there are bone animators out there who are not probably all that skilled. But there's some great talent, I would say, with bone animation. And it is true that in the long run, it is probably quicker to do. But there are so many little subtle things you can do with it to expand upon it. And of course, if you learn frame-by-frame animation, you're getting the best of both worlds. The reason why I teach bone animation the most is because it has a smaller learning curve than that of frame-by-frame animation. And so that is why I teach it. My hope is that you will learn the bone animation techniques and then expand upon it and eventually take those techniques and apply it to frame-by-frame if that's the way you want to go. I've used both frame-by-frame and bone animation in some of my cartoons as well. So I'm not like a stranger when it comes to frame-by-frame animation. Maybe not to the extent of some other animators out there, but I do it. And those are my reasons for teaching the bone animation. And those are my reasons for why I think both animation techniques have a place in the field. So anyway, that ends this episode for today. I hope you guys learned something from, it was kind of a rant, I guess I just did, but whatever. So if you guys have any questions for me, you can find me at chadchat.incredibletutorials.com, and you can leave a question on the form there. You can also find me on Facebook. I have a Google Plus page. I have a Twitter account, and I have a Pinterest account as well. So you guys can follow me on there and ask your questions. And of course, you can always post your questions on YouTube as I try to check the comments sections on my videos from time to time. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.